If you don't know, I'm building a game where you can create islands using procedural tools or by manually placing pieces yourself. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how I went from this to this, why I went into the woods and dropped a giant tree, and talk about what's next for my ultimate game dev plan. But before that, I want to tell you all that the Steam page for the game is live, so you can go check it out right now. I'm calling it Bridges and Docks, and if the game looks cool to you, please make sure that you wishlist it. It would mean a lot to me. So I'm going to jump into the new additions I made to the game, then spend some time showing you the kind of cool stuff I'm able to create, and then talk about what's going into the game next. And I'll give you a hint. It's animals. So I just got done watching my previous devlog, and honestly, this game feels like an entirely different game now. I cannot believe how much I've improved it since the last video. So let me show you how I went from this to this. For starters, let's begin with camera movement. You can rotate and zoom in and out, and I made it so that the angle of the camera actually changes as you zoom in, so it becomes more horizontal. And then it has a more vertical top-down view as you zoom out. And I like this because you don't have to manually control the angle of the camera, but getting in closer gives you a nicer horizontal view where you can kind of see everything. And as you zoom out, there's now a fog effect at the edge of the screen instead of just empty water. Then I added better shaders for the island materials. Now it's more cell shaded and has an outline to help give it more shape. Also, I changed from unlit shaders to lit shaders, so things can cast shadows now, and man, does it look better. I spent a long time tweaking the shaders and trying out colors and materials. It's not final, but I think it looks so much better now. At least I think so. You tell me if you like the previous style better. And of course, everything changes according to the color scheme that you want to use. And one color scheme that I've been experimenting with is a night mode, where everything is dark and the windows and buildings are illuminated with a warm yellow glow. Okay, then I started working on a proper bridge building tool. In my last video, I basically just had the ability to spawn bridge tiles, but they worked basically the same as the land tiles. But now I have a fleshed out bridge tool that lets me drag and decide where to build bridges, even in the air. Now you can span rope bridges across gaps, and it's so much fun to work with. I even added a little preview when building rope bridges that shows you the directions you can build in from a tile. And I construct these bridges by just having a bridge plank prefab that I spawn in succession to allow for the appearance of a bridge. And with some math to calculate the rotation and appropriate sag amount, bam, you have a bridge. So I could have flat rope bridges or super saggy rope bridges. And then, of course, once I had a way to build the bridges manually, I wanted to do it procedurally. So I added these adjustment sliders, and it worked really well. You can define the quantity and the length of bridges, and if there's a spot on the island that fits your requirement, it will add it. And you can change those requirements without having to regenerate the entire island, which is cool. So after that, I moved on to my favorite part of the new improvement: trees. And to get some inspiration for tree placement, I decided to go out into the wilderness and chop down a big old tree with a chainsaw. Then I got to work putting together tree assets, and this required testing different types of tree models. Did I want a low poly look or a more detailed look? I wasn't sure. So I asked my Discord community, and we had the same opinion. I chose the trees I liked best and built a placement tool that lets me plant trees on existing plots of land. And part of that was creating this selection tool so it's easier to tell where you're pointing. I'm not sure if I'll keep it, but we'll see. Then I hooked it up to the color system so that I could change the colors of the trees too. And I made it so that it would take a base color and then it would create 4 slightly different color variations of trees so it doesn't look too uniform. And then, of course, I added the procedural tools. So now you can change the likelihood of trees spawning, how close together they spawn, and if they are clumped together or more random. It's pretty neat. And then I did the exact same thing with houses. You can hit the R key on the keyboard to rotate the direction of the house and place it down wherever you want. Right now, the procedural house tool rotates the houses in a random direction, which doesn't always look great, but it gives so much life to these islands. I particularly like islands that have sparse houses sprinkled around them randomly. But if you want, you could also group them together or make a lot of them. It's very fun to mess around with. And the thing I like about combining manual tools with procedural tools is that you can set up the houses like 90% how you want them, and then come in and add 1 or 2 houses in the exact spot that you think they should go. The islands suddenly feel much more alive and lived in, even without any animals or humans. Yet. And so right now, I'm in the midst of doing the same thing, but with rocks. I really like the idea of having these big rock formations that spawn in the water around the island. So I'm working on a system that will ensure that they don't intersect with any land, but it's all prototyping right now. I do think that the big rocks look really cool though. And that brings you up to speed with where I'm at right now. I'm honestly losing a good amount of development time because I keep playing with this and making some really fun things. I'm very, very excited to start working on the next phase of this game, which is going to be adding animals to the islands. I'm planning on adding birds, fish, ducks, and sheep. I have some pretty fun ideas, but let me know if you have any good ideas for what kind of wildlife should be included in the next update. And if you want to try it out, you can join my Discord, where I'm releasing demo versions of the game for people to get feedback on. Thank you for sticking around this long. I would really appreciate it if you would consider hitting the thumbs up on this video, and that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.